What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in the last video I introduced you to this brand new unit. If you haven't seen it, click on the top right hand corner now to go watch that video. Come back and we'll carry on. But in the last video you saw the unit was a mess. I've been busy with a brush and I've moved a lot around. There's still a fair bit to do, but today's video mainly is to get that out the way, get those mats down in the corner and do some bits on the GTO. So the first thing we need to do is get the Porsche moved, and I think the battery's probably flat. Oh, it's right. So let's see if she unlocks. Well, it beeps, but the light didn't flash. Doesn't fill me with much confidence. Oh yeah, it did unlock. Let's have a look. So, key in the ignition. Well, the ignition's on. Foot on the clutch. And nothing. Well, she's dead. Let's see if the GTO battery can jumpstart the Porsche. The bonnet up. There we go. There it is. I'm hoping this has got enough juice in it to get that going, otherwise I can't move it. Or it'll take a while because I'll have to charge the Porsche battery. Where's its on? There it is. So let's get the jump leads on the Porsche battery. Red, black, black, and then black, red to red. Hopefully that'll give it enough juice to get it started. See if it goes. So it looks like we're gonna have to take the Porsche battery out and put it on charge and wait forever. I'll get that out. I'll come back to you when it's charged up, and we'll get the crashed up Cayman started and we can get it moved. So I'll come back to you in a bit. So once again, the Porsche battery is on charge, but I don't want to keep charging it this way because if you do it too many times, it can destroy the battery, and these batteries aren't cheap. So I just took the battery charger off the battery and hopefully it's got enough in it to actually start the Porsche. The good thing is when I plugged it in, that light came on red to red. And it seems a lot brighter than it used to be. So let's see if it'll turn over. Round two. And maybe not. Although, GTO battery might jump this. Positive. Round three. Try again. Third time lucky, eh? Well, we got there in the end. So now the Porsche's gone out the way, I can finally get the brush in this corner and get rid of all the bits on the floor ready for the new match to make a little temporary work area. So now we get to do more brushing up. No matter how many times I brush this floor, the dust just keeps coming back. It's like it just turns up out of nowhere. Another reason why I want to do this is because as you walk around the unit and you're kicking the dust up, it's covering the cars in dust, it's not great for the paint, and it will stop us from being able to wrap the cars in the future. So the area is now brushed and clean enough to get the mats down, and hopefully it makes a big difference. I mean, surely anything's got to be better than dusty concrete. But anyway, let's get these down. Oh, I'm going to have to actually lay them. So these foam mats are purely temporary, but they're going to help a lot when it comes to working on the car. Because I haven't got a lift yet, I've still got to crawl around the floor, and I didn't really fancy doing that on the dusty concrete. They're easy to fit, but the only issue is they don't go as far as you'd expect them to. Well, I think we're going to need a fair few more, so I'll come back to you tomorrow when I've got more mats and the whole thing's done. It's now the next day. As you can see behind me, the floor is finished. And I had to get double what I bought yesterday thinking I had enough. And these ones on the front, as you can see, they're actually old versions of the same mats. But now the mats are down and I think it's a lot better than working on the concrete, getting covered in dust, and actually it's quite uncomfortable, to be honest with you. But now we've made a nice little work area, we need to get the Porsche back on the mats in the corner. And what are the odds that this time it doesn't start again? Let's give it a go. Well, we have power, which is a good start. But no start. Looks like we're jumping in again with the GTO battery. I know it may not look like much, but it's always the little things that make the biggest differences. And now we've got a dedicated work area for the Porsche. I'm dying to just get straight into it. I know it's just a square of foam mats, but it's so nice to have somewhere dedicated to work on the car and still have space everywhere else for everything else. But these foam mats aren't a permanent fixture, they're purely just temporary, and you know what, I think it'll do. But now that I've got somewhere set up like that, I can start working on the Porsche and we can start fixing all of the issues it's got. And there's a fair few. Now the Porsche corner's finished and it's sitting there quite nicely, we can move our attention to the other project, the GTO. So although there's a fair bit that still needs to be done, one thing I do want to do on the GTO is this plastic white pipe here is notorious for blowing off the throttle body. So people replace it with a chrome white pipe, which I've got and I've had for a while, but obviously I haven't been able to fit it because the engine wasn't in the car. But although it'll look nicer with the chrome pipe, there are a few reasons why I want to do it. Like I've just said, it blows off the throttle body there. If you come to the back, there's actually a vacuum line that isn't connected because it goes into that bit there, but it's snapped. And putting the metal pipe on means it'll be a stronger connection between all the vacuum hoses and we can actually get it to clamp onto the throttle body a lot better so it doesn't pop off under boost. And this is the chrome white pipe. And as you can see, there's the plastic and the chrome pipe sits on like that, and I think it looks quite nice. I am going to clean the engine bay up with all these pipes and all the metal brackets and stuff. But as you may know, because I had to move units, I had to get that in quick so I could move it all at once. So I kind of just threw it all back together, but I will be going through that and making it look nice because the amount of work I put into the engine, it's a bit of a shame to leave with some rusty boost pipes. The other thing as well is with this white pipe, if you look on the plastic one, the clamp for that is actually built into it. I know the lighting's not great, I'm going to get some light soon. But the clamp on it's built in with the rubber gasket which goes against the throttle body, and that's kind of why it pops off. But on the white pipe, it's got a rolled edge, so if you get a good clamp on it, it can stay clamped, and you have this, which is a silicone reducer, so it goes between the throttle body and the clamp, so you can get better clamping force so that doesn't pop off the same way that does. So I'll get some lighting in the engine bay, we'll get the old one off and we'll get the shiny new one on. That's the old white pipe off, and you can see obviously the plastic's a bit brittle because of the age of it, but that's the gasket that goes to the throttle body, and the clamp, well, the clamping surface around it is quite terrible. That's why it pops off the throttle body, and people like to change them for that. That's the bit that's snapped on the back for the vacuum line, so it's pretty unusable. So I'm glad we got the replacement. So fitting the chrome one is literally just the reverse of taking the plastic one off. I'll show you anyway, but it's pretty simple. So first I'm going to fit the silicone reducer pipe to the throttle body so then I can get the white pipe onto the reducer, and then from then all the hoses kind of just fall into place, so you can only really go in one way, so you can't really get it wrong. It is quite an awkward thing to do though, especially with the vacuum line on the back. I regret using the word simply because that was actually quite a pain. But it's on. I do want to get some new clamps because these clamps are, well, they're rusty and old. That one's the same, that's for the blow-off valve. Up here, there's actually a missing one because the one I had snapped. That one's off the throttle body anyway, but that's clicking, so that's not even on tight. I need to get one on there. I think it's safe to say I need a fair few intake clamps. But all that aside, I think it looks a lot better with the chrome pipe, and I know it's going to be more reliable than that old plastic one. So I'm happy I got it. And although the GTO is looking fairly complete, there's still a fair bit that needs to be done to it. So let me tell you what needs to be done. So I'm still having to jump it with the jump leads to the battery to get the fuel pump to go. And that could be because of one of three reasons. Either the ECU output isn't actually telling the fuel pump to come on, the fuel pump relay is dodgy, or the MFI, which is your multi-port fuel injection relay, which is inside the car, that could also be dodgy, because I know pin 6 on that, the connector sometimes opens up and doesn't get a good connection, fuel pump doesn't get the signal. There's a lot, but we'll get into it in a different video. Next thing is, although the calipers and the discs are on the car, there's actually no brake pads in them. And the braking system on the GTO hasn't got any fluid in it, again, purely because there's no pads. If you try and bleed brakes without brake pads in them, they just pop the pistons out and you get fluid everywhere, and it's not a good time. While we're on the subject of bleeding stuff, the clutch master cylinder right down there, that could do with another bleed. It's a very common thing on the Mitsubishi GTOs to struggle to get a good clutch pedal or good pedal pressure, because they just go spongy and soft. Still don't know why. People say it's a slave cylinder, people say it's a master cylinder, but we'll get into that one and we'll try and fix that as well. And last but not least, which is a pretty obvious one, is the bodywork. The car is still part blue, part red, the skirts are missing, there's bits of burgundy still on it. And overall, it all just needs doing properly. I am wrapping this car, as I've said. I do have the wrap for it, but it's too cold at the minute. So we won't be able to wrap it just yet. We kind of need to get the unit a little bit warmer and have an area where we can heat it up, which is the whole goal of today, really, with the corner for the Porsche, to work on the Porsche, to get the GTO wrapped, to get the Porsche wrapped eventually, and just have somewhere nice to work. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. I know we haven't got a lot done, but it's all a step forward to moving forward to then starting to do more things on all the cars. But if you like what you see, remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get an update every time I post a video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Afraid to turn out the lights.